This is Carol Laurie, and I'm here with my dear friend and colleague, Aimee Carlson, who is a certified, notice that word, it's very important. Not everybody gets to be that. You have to work hard to get there, toxin expert. And we're here today. She's here with us to share everything related to toxins in your home, how they impact your hormones, how they impact breast cancer. And also, critical component is what can you do
Right.
really reduce this impact in your life and exposure. So Aimee, thank you so much for being here.
Well, I'm always grateful for the opportunity to talk about toxins. It's certainly my passion and something that I've delved deep into. So thank you for bringing me into your audience.
So why don't you just take it away? I mean, where do women, what are some of the basics they need to know, and what can they then, how can they take that knowledge and empower themselves to clean up their toxins in their home and their life?
Sure. Well, let's start first by, what does the audience know about toxins? Toxins are really the root to all disease, chronic disease that we have in our body and inflammation that is occurring inside the body. And this is why it's such an important conversation to have. When we think about getting healthy, I think most people think about what we eat. Most people think about how we're moving. And the last piece of that puzzle that we put together is the toxin piece. Yet that's really the fire. And we've got to learn how to take our hand off the fire. So I like to look at different pillars. When I wrote my book, I described 5 pillars of living a toxin-free lifestyle. And so if you're okay, I'm going to talk about each one
No.
of those pillars. And within each one of those pillars, I'm going to go through kind of my top tips, the
Right.
top toxins, because honestly, I'm 9 years almost into my journey and I'm still learning.
Wow.
And there is always going to be new toxins. There's always going to be new exposures. So I don't want your audience, I don't want our listeners to be afraid. I want them to be empowered. I want them to
Exactly.
know there's things that you absolutely can do. So we'll talk about toxins. And then I want to kind of switch the gamut a little bit and talk about detox as well, and
Perfect.
how we can support those detox pathways, because it's a balancing act, with both of those. Is that okay?
Oh, it's better than okay. It's fantastic.
Awesome. All right. So the first pillar I like to look at is air. We breathe so much stuff in. And so within the air, what I like to think about are fragrance. What kind of fragrances are we finding inside of our home? And I want you to start taking those products that you're using in your home. I want you to treat them like food. I want you to disregard everything that's on that front label, because
Right.
that's marketing. All
Right.
right. We need to ignore it. We need to turn that around and we need to read the ingredients, just like you look at your fat, sugar, sodium, all that stuff on your food. You need to start understanding what those labels are telling us on our personal care products. Now, I don't know about you, but most of us don't want to become a scientist, right? We don't want to
Well,
become
I
a
do, but that's okay.
I
Most
know,
people don't.
but a lot of women don't. They're just like, I'm just fighting to be healthy. I'm
Right.
fighting, the battle right now and just wanting to know how to be healthy. So there is an app. It is called Think Dirty. It is
Oh, I love
complete.
that. What a great name.
I know, right? And it's free. You can download it to your phone. This is what I started with because I had no idea. And I heard from so many people, well, if you can't pronounce it, it's not good for you. And that's so not true.
Right.
If you look at the scientific names for a lot of our natural ingredients, you can't pronounce them. It doesn't mean it's not safe for your body. So I want you to download this app, and you can scan all of your products, whether it's cleaning products or personal care products, and it will tell you a safety rating from 0 to 10, with 0 being the safest, 10 being the dirtiest.
And
Think
being you
dirty.
should throw out this product and not use
You
it
should
anymore.
not have it inside your home. Yes.
Right.
Now, my personal threshold is 3.
Okay.
So if it has anything above a 3, I don't allow it in my home.
Good.
Now, that's great in and of itself, but what it does, it takes it a step further. This app starts outlining with you exactly what's in this product, the ingredients listed there, and why it gets the rating that it does. So you'll start to identify, oh yeah, parabens, don't want it. Oh yeah, fragrance,
This
don't
is
want it.
great. What a wonderful thing.
Yes. So this is a great thing to start with. You can scan stuff while you're at the store. You can just type it in, and it's a wonderful tool to have in your arsenal. So fragrance is number one. Get rid of it, turn those labels around, and look for fragrance being in it. And here's the thing with fragrance that you need to understand: within that label of fragrance, they can have, I believe the last time I checked, it was up to 44,000 different chemicals that could be used. Now, most companies aren't putting all 44,000, but that is the
I hope
current.
not. It's alarming. How can, it's really
But
scary.
it can include up to most times about 200. Different ingredients are within that word, and we don't know what it is because it's protected.
Oh,
A proprietary trade secret they don't have to tell us. So fragrance is a no-go. And if you're thinking about it, unscented, when we look at products that say unscented, they still have all of the ingredients of the fragrance. And then we're going to add more ingredients in here to cover up the smell. So
oh,
we want to find fragrance free. That's my tip for you on
that's,
fragrance.
I didn't actually, I just learned something that's really amazing. I thought that was scent, no scent was it, but now it has to say fragrance free. I just learned something. Thank you so much. Really important.
Absolutely. And you'll find, the normal spots that we think of: shampoo, lotions, body care, but look at your cleaners. Look at what you're cleaning your
Oh,
house
yeah,
with, your dish soaps, your dishwashing
right.
detergents. All of those products have fragrance in them too. So, start looking there. Okay.
I just want to tell a story about this woman who came to see me, and had so much perfume on her, and I had a scent-free office, and I said, "Can you tell me about scent?" And she
Mhm.
said, "Oh, I love scents." And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" "Oh, I spray my sofa with that horrible toxic chemical, which we're not going to mention. And then I have those plug-ins, and then I have those sticks in the oil." And she had fertility problems, and she had been spending thousands of dollars. And I said, on IVF treatment, I said, "So when you go home, can you just put everything on the counter and take a photo of it that you use?"
Mhm.
29 items
Mm, with
in her
fragrance.
home. And she had to throw out her sofa because it could not be detoxified from that horrible chemical, change her laundry detergents, get everything cleaned with the,
Mhm.
and 3 months later, without thousands of dollars of IVF, we put her on a detox protocol. She was pregnant. So do not underestimate the impact of these advertising things
Mhm.
that you
Mhm.
see on TV, and you think that you have a smelly home and you got to plug in and spray on your sofa, and put shower dryer sheets are the worst.
Oh, yes. So lots of VOCs within the laundry room. Now, here's the thing: fragrance is a huge endocrine disruptor. Not only is it disrupting our endocrine system, but it's creating xenoestrogens inside the body, synthetic, fake estrogen, inside the
Right.
body. So this is not something that we want to allow inside of our home, especially as women. It is what is attributing to our children reaching puberty earlier in life.
I
It's a,
got to say that. Yeah.
all the things that it's attributing to: low sperm counts that are happening, the fertility issues that are happening, breast cancer. Parabens, are in a lot of the products that have fragrance inside of them. And parabens have been found in every breast cancer tumor. So let's start putting the links together. And listen, if you believe that I have scent inside my home, an odor that I don't like, and so I'm going to spray something to get rid of it. If you think that really works, then you have no idea what it means to get down to the root of what's causing an issue. How about we remove the source? How about we figure out what is it that's causing the smell in the first place?
Yeah,
Okay. So,
right.
all right, we're all over,
Fragrance, right.
it's
Okay,
all,
let's move on
oh,
to the next, because we're going to be a long time, because Aimee
I
is so
know, I
thorough. I
know.
love that.
So let's talk water. Water here, we get a lot of things in our water sources, from heavy metals to pharmaceuticals to chlorine, chloramine. We have pesticides, fungicides, herbicides. All these things can be found in our water sources that are coming inside of our homes. Two things I'm going to give you tips on water. Number one, ewg.org is an website called the Environmental Working Group.
Right,
There
right.
is a tab marked water. Do you know about this one?
Yes, but no, go ahead, share it. I think
Okay.
it's really important.
So if you click on that water tab, you can type in your zip code and it will tell you exactly what is in your municipality's water. So you know what you're dealing with. That is going to be the first bit of information you need to have in order to determine what kind of filtration system do I need to be using within my home of what I'm trying to get rid of.
Right.
So go there and check that out. Secondly, the shower is so very important. We think about what we drink, but ladies, what we shower in is equally as important. When you are in the shower, depending upon the product that you're using, depending on the condition of your skin, we can detect inside your body within 30 seconds to 2 minutes any product you have put on your skin.
Because your
So
pores are open from the hot water and they just go, oh, let's just absorb
soak
it.
it in,
Right.
so not only is it the product, but think about it. If you have heavy metals in your water, if you have chlorine in your water, fluoride in your water, all that is being absorbed into the body as well. So if you cannot do a whole house filtration system, go to Aquasana and order a shower filter. They're less than $40, an easy fix that you can do to make a huge difference in your overall health.
And
That's
I have a discount with the Aquasana, so you'll put that, I'll post that on my site and we'll be able to get everyone that. I think Aquasana is an excellent water filtration system. I have that in my home.
awesome. And I do not use the Aquasana, although I'm an affiliate with them as well. I actually use a whole house filtration system, and it's a 3-part system that I do, and then have reverse osmosis on the water that
And
I
who is
drink.
that, just for our info?
So what I do is we have a company that we rent equipment from on our whole home. So there's like a UV filtration system that the water goes through, then it goes through a softening process, and then it goes through a charcoal filter.
Wonderful.
All right. So it's going through several different processes before it gets into the home. And then my drinking water, I do the reverse osmosis. I add that little extra kick.
And
But yeah,
who's the company that you're doing that with, honey?
I'm in Arizona and it's called Boyette's, but many water companies have different, we're in and out of homes. And so I just do a rental system,
Mhm.
less than $50 a month. And I know,
Okay, that's really good information to know.
yes,
Thank you.
check that out. All right. So air, water, food. Most people are talking about pesticides and eating organic, and those are good things to do, and we want to do those. And when it comes to organic, I've got 2 tips for you on that, because I hear all the time, Carol, do you hear this one too? I can't afford to buy
Oh, all the
organic.
time, which is I find hysterically funny because people are spending when you go into a supermarket. I have done my reconnaissance because I'm very concerned about that. And so people who say they can't afford what they have in there is Pepsi. They
Mhm,
have over-the-counter pastries and cookies and box cereal and box this, but
mhm.
then they can't afford money for real food. So yeah, I hear that a lot.
Right. Well, first of all, just don't even go down the aisles. I mean, there's your tip,
Yes, don't eat. The only reason you should go into a store like that maybe is if you need toilet paper or paper towels, but you can get those from, an organic health food store, recyclable anyway. So I'm with you.
Well, and think about it. I mean, while we're on this topic, normal toilet paper, normal paper towels are bleached.
Yeah.
They are bleached, and you're putting that against your skin.
Or
Just
in your food, because I have some people who wash their food and then sit them down on one of these paper
on the paper
towels.
towels.
And I wash my food and sit it down on one of my Ego Wash towels and just dry it. I don't use that paper towel stuff. It's,
All these things that we just don't
yeah,
think about, that they all add up
they
over
all
time.
add up.
Right? It all puts this stress on the system. And finally, our body says, whoa, we've had enough. Right? So food. when you're thinking organic, what I'd like you to think about is, what do you eat the most of? All right. So if you eat blueberries every morning, then blueberries better be organic for
That's
you.
a really good point. I like this. I eat blueberries every day, and I would not even consider buying non-organic. So it's
Right.
just not an option.
Right. Also, thick skin, thin skin. We can look at those options. And here's my last tip with organic food is, look in the freezer section.
Yeah,
The freezer section many times is more nutrient dense food because it's been frozen. You can find fruit and vegetables that are organic there and cost far less than buying the live produce in the produce section.
right.
So,
And the other tip, I think that's a great, really important, especially for frozen blueberries or green beans or peas.
right.
And the other tip I want to say is that what's in season at the farmer's market is
Yes.
always going to be, it really upsets me where I go shopping. They have grapes now and nectarines, and
Mhm.
it's, like,
Not seasoned.
and where they come from, Chile. So
Yes.
I've spoken to the manager there. It's like, why do people need to eat nectarines and grapes when it's December? I know
Right.
it's March now, but they've had them since December. So it's like such a carbon footprint for
Yeah.
that.
It- it-
So if you stick with local and you go to your local farmers market, you're going to be able to get the best price for what is live. And you can then augment that with frozen vegetables, which I think is better than being non-organic.
It is the absolute best, because here's what people don't understand about organic. I'm going to give you two more points of
Right.
conversation here. Number one is, being labeled organic does not mean it has zero pesticide. It
Correct.
is controlled as to how much they can use. That's number one. Number two, we don't know how long it's been transported and where it's coming from. That's the second thing. When you utilize your local farmers markets, you can talk to the farmer. They've come from field into the marketplace, and you can get to know what their farming practices are, and you can understand and make better food choices. So I highly recommend that if you can. All right. So we've got food, air, water. Absorption is a big one. And I don't know how much time you want to take. I have a couple
Much as
things.
we need, it's fine. We have
Okay.
lots of time.
Okay, so we already discussed parabens when we were on another topic there, and we already discussed how quickly things absorb inside the skin. What I want you to avoid when it comes to what you're putting on your skin, and think everything, ladies, you're using when you get ready. You are putting over 200 chemicals on
Yeah.
you each and every
Good
day,
morning. Yeah.
every single day. So it's this cumulative effect that just builds up inside the body. I want you avoiding parabens, sulfates, phthalates, fragrance, poly, oh, why is this one escaping my brain? Poly, ethylene,
Ethanol.
yes, yes. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's in so many personal care products. Now, we're jumping into springtime. A lot of spring breaks are happening right now. Um, Double check your sunscreens. You should be using a mineral
Oh
based
God,
sunscreen.
such an important topic.
You know, just because they're labeled, again, please do not read the front of products, turn them around and read the ingredients. All right. The lotions and the creams are so loaded with so many toxic things, and in fact, so many sunscreens have been banned in our tropical
Yeah.
areas because they're harming our environment. If it's killing ocean life, what do you think is happening to your own body if you're putting and slathering this on? Secondly, some sun is good for us. Not all day long, every single day, but we have to have the unabated sun to get those good vitamin D
Vitamin D.
levels.
Right.
So look for a good mineral based sunscreen that's going to be a better option for you. I just wanted to throw that out because of the
I
time.
have a great one, and I will put it up on my page. Everybody
Perfect.
should be ordering it. I sent a ton to my daughter. She recently went away, and she went, "Oh, Mom, it doesn't matter. I'll just use copper tone." And I
Oh,
went, "No,
yeah.
you will not. Not as your mom." I sent her 7 bottles for her and all of her friends, and then everybody texted me they love this product. So let's just these little things, I mean, make a really big difference. Oh, it's fine. I'll just use this product. No,
Absolutely.
because if you have that attitude for the sunscreen and the facial stuff and the dryer sheets, and then you're like just upping your exposure to all these toxins and you're putting yourself into toxic overload.
Really, you have to think of yourself as this bucket, right? You know, our body is this bucket, and we're dripping constantly day after day after day, and eventually that bucket's going to fill up and then it splashes over, and that's, you know, that's us being sick. You
Right.
know, it is what
Exactly.
happens with that. So we talked about sunscreen, we talked about absorption. What I can tell you, if you go to my website, I have a free
Is
ebook.
what? What is your website? Tell
It's a
everybody.
it's amycarlson.com, and that's AIMEECARLSON. I have an ebook that goes room by room, and I
That's
talk
wonderful.
about what we want to avoid, and I give you a list of products that I recommend, and I've got many of them for every, you know, aspect
Perfect.
in there.
That's perfect. Wonderful. Thank you for
So
sharing.
it's, yeah, totally free. I know Carol's got a whole lot of stuff on her site
No,
as
I think it's great. This is
well.
great.
Awesome. Now, the last pillar that I want to talk with you ladies about is our mind. You know, mental is a huge toxin. And what I like to think about is we've got internal mental toxins and we've got external toxins. All right. So we can talk about, you know, stress can be external, it can be internal. Relationships could be part of that external. There might be people in your life that are toxic, and you have to learn how to set those healthy boundaries.
Boundaries are so important. I always am talking about that.
So important. But let's talk about, because we're in a group of women who are breast cancer survivors, are breast cancer running through this, you know, type of thing. I want you to think about your thoughts, your words, and they all become your actions. So, what are you thinking inside of your head? And you can flip that switch. You can decide how you want to think. We're given life. We're not told this is going to be a good life or a bad life. That is completely our decision.
I agree. Totally. We can't necessarily choose what shows up on our path,
Nope.
but how you respond to that, whether it's a good quote or difficult quote moment, you have 100% choice
We
for
do.
of about.
And
And
how
yeah,
how empowering is that? You know, I lived much of my life in that victim mentality. I had this idea of, when I get this, when this happens, when those people do this, when this is when this, all those when and ifs, and that's a victim mentality. I wasn't living in a place of, I'm empowered to choose exactly how I want my day to go. I'm empowered to choose. And maybe I don't get the choice of exactly how I want my day to go, but I get a choice of how I'm going to feel about it.
yeah.
I get a choice of how I'm going to react to things. So it's thoughts, it's words, and it's actions. We absolutely manifest what is happening in our life based on those things. And my tips to you, because I lived there, I was in a really dark spot for most of my adult life. I had a whole lot of series of things that happened in my life. I blamed so many people, places, and things on how my life turned out. And it was just so freeing to learn I didn't have to be like that anymore.
Well, you've totally turned your life around because you are a perfect example of taking your thoughts and your desires and turning them into reality with your book and your boot camp and your program and how you're serving women. I mean, and your now recent certification. I mean, you zoom through that certification in like a month or something, and usually it takes a year. I mean, the speedy certification, which is not easy to do. So I
Thank
think
you.
that you're, it's wonderful to talk to women who are walking and talking the talk, the walk, whatever the phrase is.
Yes.
You're living, like I can't sit here and tell people to not eat sugar if I'm like sneaking stupid
Down.
sugar on the side. I mean, you have to be in a line with what your messaging is and how you're wanting to help women elevate their life. And Aimee is one of those women who is very, really right there. And I admire her so much. So And I think what you've just said is really the crux. I mean, the mind is the beginning of everything. If
It
you
really is.
decide that you're not going to have a toxic home anymore, then you're going to download Aimee's free book and you're going to go through every single room and do a redo.
Right.
The woman that I worked with who was 35 and had fertility, undiagnosed fertility problems. It wasn't
Right.
undiagnosed for me. I knew exactly what the
Right.
problem was the minute she walked in my office.
Mhm.
She was on a mission. She wanted that
Yeah.
baby. She was going to do whatever it took.
Right. Well,
So,
and we
yeah,
have to decide. I would encourage you, decide what's important for your life, but I want you to get into the emotions of it. I don't want you to decide what is important in your life just because, I don't know. You got to get into the emotion of it. You've got to get into understanding, I decided I wanted to get healthy. That was physical, mental, spiritual, all of it that I wanted to do. And that was 9 years ago. And I knew, I was starting to have grandbabies. I wanted to be there for them. I wanted to be active. Because we go over that age of 50 does not mean half our life is over. It means half our life is just beginning,
right.
you
I
know?
agree.
And
But
what is that going to look like for us? So you have to get into the emotion of it and really find your passion, and that's going to be your power.
and realize that how we take care of ourselves from, you don't think about the next half when you're 40, but when you hit
Ugh,
50, you really begin to think about the next chapters and
we
the
do.
next part and how you take care of yourself really in your 40s, but absolutely starting in your 50s really determines what your muscle mass, what your bone strength is going to be. Are you going to be in a wheelchair by the time you're 90? I don't, it's like I go on power walks almost every day
Right.
and I work out because I am not, I don't, my daughter said to me, Mom, I don't want you to be like Granny. And Granny was great, but she was in a wheelchair for the last several
Right.
years of her life. And I want to be this feisty little old lady who's walking and doing all this stuff.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's going to be a long time from now because I'm not feisty old lady yet, but I'm heading in that direction. So I'm embracing it and it's part of life. And, we have to take care of ourselves at 50 as we do at
Yes.
60 and 70.
And it's never too late. It is never too late to start. Don't ever sell yourself short. Always start. Always wake up with that fresh start. And listen, we want longevity in life, but we want healthy longevity. Who wants to live to be 100 years old if you are in that wheelchair? If you're stuck away in a nursing home and you're not able to live the life that you want to live. And those are choices that we make today.
Right.
It's a choice.
And you can be in a wheelchair and still be very active and in your mind. But what we're saying is
Right.
you can prevent that from happening
Right.
by taking your supplements, really
Yeah.
detoxifying your home and your life and having the right emotional attitude. You
Yes.
can perhaps really tip the scales in your favor. So you don't have to be 90 and in a wheelchair or 87 in a wheelchair. I don't want to be in a wheelchair. I'm
Right.
doing everything I can not to be. But
Right.
my mom was in a wheelchair, but she had her mental,
Right.
yeah,
Right. And I'm not saying every woman who lives in a nursing home doesn't have a quality of life. I'm not saying that. We're just trying to tell you that the choices you make today, are going to come back and have an impact for you 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
yeah,
It all, there's always an action and a consequence,
it's
you know,
true.
always.
And I think it's very important that if you've had breast cancer, if you're under treatment and you're in process of treating your breast cancer, that is a message that your life as you were living it is out of alignment or out of balance. So I have my 6 steps. Aimee has her, her wonderful toxin protocol, detoxifying protocol. There are lots of options out there.
Right.
And I think the universe will bring you to the right person who will help you. I don't think it's possible to do this by yourself. One of the things that I find very interesting with this disease, breast cancer particularly, is that women will go online to Dr. Google, they'll join different groups, and they'll think, oh, well, I just need to take supplement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And even though you can understand what these 6 supplements do, the sensitivity of putting together a comprehensive protocol, which is going to address the
Right.
metabolic, genomic, and external environmental toxin protocol
Mhm.
is not something that you can learn from Dr. Google. It's really through, I've been doing this for 35 years. Amy's been doing it for, 10 at least. It's hard, it's hard earned knowledge.
It well, and it's not the same for every
Right.
person.
That's the whole
You
thing.
know, just because someone else goes out there and gets this result with whatever they've Dr. Googled, doesn't mean that's going to be your result as well. It's best to work with an expert in their field that's going to guide you. If you want results, you want lasting results, then you have to be guided. Let someone who's been down that path, let someone who knows what's happening grab your hand and walk you down that path. And that's what Carol's all about.
And,
um,
and boot
yeah.
camp or boot camp. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the boot camp is really your first step. It's teaching you how to take your hand off the fire. It's teaching you how to support your detox pathways, and it's teaching you a way to eat that is going to help give your cells the best chance within your body. So really, we're diving into kind of those three. There's 5 proven steps, but it's those 3 areas to really start your journey. It's the start.
Right. And how do people find out about your boot camp if they're interested?
Sure. So the Toxin Terminator, I'm a podcast host, so that's all through aimeecarlson.com. But I also have a website called transformingwomenshealth.com. So if you just go to Transforming Women's Health, you can find there's tabs that say boot camp. You can check out the boot camp and what it's all about.
And you have a Facebook page called Transforming Women's Health.
We do, and Carol has been on our page. We do our More Than Peak Ribbons is our signature event. Well, we host that every October, which is a huge event, and we are launching May. May. So Carol, you need to come be a part of it. We're calling it Movement on a Mission.
Oh, I love that.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
So we've got really great information coming with that.
And I think the message that I'm getting from this conversation with Aimee and to all you ladies out there is movement. And movement is the opposite of stagnation. And stagnation is a tumor, it's depression, it's lack of movement, it's lack of oxygen. And we all need to move. And we need to make sure that that movement, how you have empowerment over your life, is that movement is in a positive direction towards health and recovery. And Aimee and we are 2 people out here, practitioners who really work in a very similar way and support each other as colleagues and friends. And we are all here for you to help you get that movement. I mean, it is possible to be undergoing chemotherapy and be healthier at the end of it than you were at the beginning. I've said that to women and they've looked at me like I had a screw loose. And I said, well, let me prove myself right.
Yes.
Do this program. And their oncologists have emailed me and said, what are you doing with this person? Because everybody else has severe anemia, neuropathy, fatigue, and your people are just no anemia, very minimal neuropathy, and they're doing great. What are you doing? And I go, what's my 6 steps? So it's not one thing.
It's not.
Help you with your breast cancer or any chronic terminal, possibly terminal illness. It doesn't have to be terminal.
Exactly.
It is a multiple of things that you're going to do to keep yourself here and healthy. That's what's really important.
I like looking at it as it's this big jigsaw puzzle. And we just, to create that beautiful picture, we just have to get all the pieces in the right places. And then we create that beautiful, picture. So that's what our health, that's what our journey is like.
And I think the reason I said terminal is because I've had women call me up and said, my doctor has told me terminal. And I've gone, well, let's see what that means.
Right.
And many years later, they're still here. So it's very important to understand that you have a lot of options in your life, and the universe, the angels, the goddesses have a way of guiding you towards people like Aimee and myself. And that's one of the reasons we're here on Facebook, to reach all of you.
Yes. I love that.
Me too. Oh. So Aimee, thank you so much. Once again, you can reach Aimee at aimeecarlson.com and her boot camp, transformingwomenshealth.com. She also has a Facebook page with the same name.
Yes.
And it's been really wonderful to have Aimee here as a dear friend and colleague. And this is Carol Laurie, your integrative breast cancer expert, signing off for now. And there'll be more later. Have a lovely afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, I just have to stop the recording.